doing it?
Well, you started off so strong.
Oh, okay. Welcome to the Pacifist podcast.
There we go.
As you can see, it's just me and Mushu tonight. There is always a possibility that somebody might drop in, but it seems less likely tonight than most.
Yeah.
So consequently, we've saved our decent subject matters for another night, and you're just being blessed with
Bullshit.
this.
Basically, it's basically going to be like however long full of bullshit. Which is one point I did want to bring up actually. I've obviously been watching over our previous podcasts and stuff like that, and there's a lot of content that tends to get delivered as fact, and I just wanted to point out that this is a very uneducated podcast, right? We don't know a lot of what we're talking about, and that's kind of the sort of idea of it. So do your own fact checking. Don't take it as as we've said it, so we must have researched it, because that's probably not true.
I would like to come back on that and say, no, you're absolutely 100% right.
Yeah.
100% right.
I was waiting to hear you argue that. I was going to, that's going to be as much bullshit as the facts we put out.
Well, the space episode where I messaged my learned friend, he watched
your space friend.
My space friend, and sent me messages saying neutrons and neutrinos are different things, you fucking idiot. But I just put that down to the whiskey and being 87% spastic.
Yeah, I mean, a mispronunciation, that's all it was. Nothing more, nothing less.
I was reading it off of a piece of paper with the actual notes that I'd written down. I'd written neutrinos, and apparently I still said neutrons. And I edited the fucking thing, and I still didn't pick up on it.
And there you have it. Everything you've learnt from this podcast could be a lie.
Yeah, definitely. But such is life. Yeah, so if you're wondering, it's neutrinos that pass through you, trillions of them every second, not neutrons. I'd be embarrassed, but yeah, I'll forget in a minute anyway. What I did want to say though, Mushu, is because it keeps fucking coming up, I've got this like mad obsession to watch Enemy Mine. I can't. It's come up so many times. It's on Amazon. I can rent it on there, but I don't really want to. So I've got somebody who's literally got a copy, and he's bringing it in for me on Monday.
What?
So
who's got a copy of that film?
I'm not sure, but I think it might be a pirate issue. I mean, it doesn't come on VHS or DVD or Blu-ray.
So you know Space Friends and Pirates. You're next level.
I got Space Friends and Pirates. I've got a guy for everything.
That doesn't sound right.
Yeah, well, that depends what circles you're in, I suppose. But yeah, so by the next podcast, I'm going to have rewatched that gem, because I've seen a lot of it. I thought it'd be on YouTube, but YouTube have started doing that. You're able to rent a movie from them now, haven't they? I mean, I've not used them, but you know, it's YouTube. I don't want to pay money to use YouTube. It feels like almost against what YouTube's about. It's meant to be morons talking facts. Facts. And flat earthers trying to convince people that the earth isn't round.
Yeah, ridiculous theories. That's what we want.
Yeah, exactly. So by next week, hopefully, I shall have rewatched it. But the clips I've seen of it over, I can see why you do like it. There is a certain amount of brilliance to it. There's a bit where he's reading that alien language. I can't remember what the language is called.
No, oh God, no, I can't. I want to say it begins with a K, but
it probably does. I mean, it's like lizard language, isn't it? And he's just like he reads it out. And he's like, Meh. He's like, now translate. And he's like, love thy neighbour. And he's like, hang on a minute, that's what it says in our Bible. And like the alien comes out with something like, it's like, love is love, or words are words. it's just a ridiculous little clip of it I saw, and I was like, oh my God, I've forgotten all of this. All I can remember is that he shoots like a flare into a pool or something like that, and it sets it on fire, and then they have a little alien baby. Spoiler alert. You not remember?
Yeah, but the baby's not his, is it?
No, he's
Because
just
they breed asexually or something like that.
Yeah, it's a bit like in the in George Orwell's Animal Farm, the TV film version that came out many years ago, where the collie just turns around to the other dogs and she's like, "It's my time," and then gives birth to a litter. And it's the exact same thing, but with a lizard man in space.
Yeah, pretty much. Then it's just like My Two Dads from then on.
Yeah. Well, I assumed. I thought one of it. No, it doesn't matter. I'll find out next week when I rewatch that gem.
Well, yeah, I might have to rewatch it myself. You know, there's a few films that I've got to rewatch now, obviously.
Oh, I meant to say in our space episode when you brought up, you said there was a really good space battle at the beginning of Enemy Mine, which I can't remember. Yeah. I meant to say there was a really good space battle in The Last Starfighter, which was around the same time. So can you remember that one?
I don't think I ever saw it, but I am aware of it. I vaguely remember seeing the front cover and thinking, wow, that looks like a rip-off of Star Wars.
Oh, I wouldn't say it's a rip-off of Star Wars.
No, bad thing, because they all came out around the same sort of time, so obviously films are going to follow a trend. But
it's more. What's it more like? So this kid in bumfuck nowhere in America plays an arcade machine, completes it, and then magically a signal gets sent off into space, and he gets picked up by the last Starfighter people, and he's the savior of the world, and he's going to be the only one who can fly this spaceship. And it's like been done a million times before.
I love it already. Just from what you said there, that is a typical 80s plot, isn't it? It's in the same sort of, like when people were just bonkers because they must have all just been on acid or something like that, and they just come up. Well, imagine pitching that to the board of directors.
Yeah,
you know?
And the boonies. There's no such thing as the internet. They haven't even got telephones, but they've got this old coin op. And for some reason, when you complete it, a signal goes up into space, and then you get picked up, Critters style. They just land and take you away in one of their little smoky ships.
Amazing.
There's always smoke, isn't it? Every time it goes, and then you got like 10 guys. Oh, nothing came out. Ah, what disappointment.
Yeah, that was very underwhelming.
It was, wasn't it? I'll try that again.
Pressure's on now.
Just like that.
That was better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very stars in their eyes.
Yeah.
Now you're joking.
Tonight, Michael, I will die of lung cancer.
Yeah, I don't know why the need for the smoke all the time. You know, they land looking like the Starship Enterprise, but as soon as they're sort of 5 foot off the ground, they start smoking like a steam engine.
It's because it was the 80s and everybody still smoked inside, didn't they? They were just like chuffing away on their deck. Like
pipe smoke. Hey up, lad, we've nearly landed.
I don't think you can qualify as a proper captain if you can't hold a pipe in your mouth without your hands. You know, the old steam cork one that they have.
I think that's all they do in the interviews. I think it's just like hold that in your mouth and do other stuff with your hands.
Yeah. Look through a telescope.
I can't do it. Oh yeah, captain's not for you.
No, maybe we can put you in a cook position or something. I'm super into like 80s stuff at the moment. I think it's because kids' films, and like, obviously I watch a lot of movies with my kids. They've started using soundtracks in absolutely everything, and not big on kids' movies, but I am quite big on music. And if my kids anyway, I don't know about yours, if they recognise a song from a movie, they'll not kick off when it's in the car. So when I'm watching or when they're watching stuff and I hear it, I like take a note if it's quite a good song, or even if it's just an okay song. And I stick it into a playlist, so at least that way I'm listening to something else. Like my boy loves Twisted Sister. We're Not Gonna Take It. He loves it. That's a good tune. I'm quite
Yeah,
happy to listen to
yeah,
that.
that's all right. You can get away with that.
Yeah, that is. He got that from Ready Player One when he's there doing I think it's John Cusack from one of his movies. He's holding a boombox above his head. It's
Yeah,
I can't remember the name of the film. I think it was one of those bad ones, maybe a John Hughes film or something. But yeah, that was playing, and then obviously a massive battle involving robots and Halo people and all sorts kicks or mega mechzillas in it. So he's encapsulated from the moment that thing starts, and it's got the soundtrack.
I was going to say that,
Sister.
like, I'm loving at the moment, like you say, the 80s references that are being thrown into so many films, like Ready Player One being an awesome thing, because there's so many kickbacks to like The Shining as well and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's funny because you've not read that book, have you?
I've not read the book, no.
No.
But I have been told that it's vastly better.
No, well,
the film.
It's a weird. Anybody who knows me, I am annoying about this movie and this film. Not just in life. I see that face. I've read the book maybe 6 or 7 times. Because it's just a standalone that is just absolutely fantastic. And everybody who I've given the book to read has been like, this book is the shit. They just can't put it down. Even like non-readers. But it's poles apart from the movie. But the movie is still decent. I saw the film first and then I read the book. But if I did it the other way round, I'm pretty sure... Oh, sorry, beer. That's why I don't drink beer. It makes me burp all the time. Yeah, if you do it like the other way around, which I do quite often, I read the book and then I watch the movie, it ruins the movie. I'm really glad in this occasion that I watched the film first because I see them as totally separate entities.
Yeah.
This is just a Steven Spielberg movie. It's this generation's Goonies. It's an adventure movie. You know, it's relevant to now because it's all technology and it's where we're heading in VR and everything.
Yeah.
But the book doesn't translate very well. There's a bit... So how well do you know the movie?
What? Which movie? The Ready Player One?
Yeah.
I've watched it a good few times. Yeah.
Okay. So you know how he gets the extra life?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, he gets the extra life in the book. But in that book, it's a chapter of him basically playing the perfect game of Pac-Man. He literally spends like 8 hours playing Pac-Man to get the top score. He's looking for clues. He sees Morrow's. What is it? Is it Morrow? Oh, whatever. The guy who made the Easter egg. Yeah. Yeah.
What, the first Easter egg?
All of the Easter eggs. The one who died and.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh no, Ogden Morrow. Ogden. He's
the other guy. He's the one played by Simon Pegg.
Simon Pegg's character. Yes, thank you. Oh God, it doesn't really matter. Either way, he sees the other guy's initials. I've read this book so many times and watched the film half a dozen times, and I'm just having a total brain fart. I can't remember the fucking name. It'll come to me in about 10 minutes. I'll just blurt it out randomly. He sees his initials on a game of Pac-Man, and it's like 10 points under the maximum score you can get. And because that Percival character is such a massive gamer, he knows that there's certain things you have to do. You've got to get to the end and you can't die, and then there's secret things. So like to read it, it's really compelling, but to watch it, he would literally be just playing Pac-Man for however fucking long.
8 hours.
Yeah. So, I mean, it just wouldn't have translated. It would have been an absolutely terrible movie if they had stuck to it by the book. And I feel like what they've done on that occasion is they've just made a totally separate thing. And both are fantastic. Everybody out there, read Ready Player One, the book. It's just great. It's full of just 80s references the whole way through of just popular culture. The guy who wrote it, I read an article, Ernest Cline, his name is, and he said he worked in movies, and he wanted to make a book that couldn't necessarily be translated into a movie. But then the book got really popular, and I suppose cash is king, isn't it? Someone offers you a couple of million for the film rights. But, he had enough of a hand in it that he could still write a sequel.
Yeah.
He had chats with Spielberg. He's like, oh, can you not do this? Can you not do that? Because I do have a book in the works, and I don't really want them to conflict too much. And the new book fucking flies. The new book comes out in November, I think, which would be good for me.
Well, yeah. I'll have to read the first one before that comes out.
Yeah, well, yeah, because the ending's sort of similar. I mean, they win, so it's similar enough.
Yeah.
But it's good. It's a nice, simple read. He wrote another book, actually. What's that called? Armada, it's called.
Right.
And it is any video gamer out there. It is the ideal book to read. It's a bit like The Last Starfighter. The premise is the number one. There's two games in the world that hold the number 1 and 2 spot. One's a flight simulator, and the other one's a ground-based one. And everybody across the world plays it. It's a bit like Call of Duty Warzone when Warzone was still super popular.
Yeah,
everybody's playing it, and they're constantly bringing out brand new missions. And sometimes they're just a standalone mission, and other times they're just there, and you can play them over and over. But it turns out that this game is actually piloting drones. So it's about this kid who's like number one in the world.
Yeah.
And yeah, it turns out that everything within that game has been real. And you know,
a bit like Ender's Game.
Exactly like Ender's Game.
Yeah.
Without really weird racism mixed in it. The guy, Ender's Game, man. He was what now? Who wrote Ender's Game? Fuck, I've got that. Oh wait, hang on. Who wrote Ender's Game?
Ender's Game was written by
Orson Scott Card. He wrote it. Now, he wrote this book years and years and years ago. I don't know what date. I've just deleted it off of my screen. I should have found out. But that guy predicted everything. When you think about Ender's Game, if you let's say it was written in the 60s, Ender's Game has the internet. It has tablets. It has drones. It has kids using said things. They're the best at controlling drones. Just like naturally, they're like instinctively really, really good about it. It's incredible. He hit the nail on the head.
It's a bit weird, isn't it? Like
what
when people do things like that. They write almost prophetic books.
Yeah. They write these little prophetic books that were sci-fi and sort of turn into fact. It's just, yeah.
They say time travel doesn't exist.
Yeah. There's
I'll tell you another. I'll tell you another film or two which had loads of throwback, sort of 80s throwback stuff, which got me really fucking juicy. Was the Wreck-It Ralph ones.
Oh mate, they're brilliant movies. Yeah, I've seen them.
Because even like some of them, like how you've got the old dying sort of cartoon video game characters and stuff like that, and just how they've worked it all into it being in the arcade and then connecting to the internet. I think it's genius, that.
It is absolutely quality. The problem with when I watch Wreck-It Ralph, it just gives me like pangs of nostalgia that I want to go back to an arcade. I remember, like, as a kid, going to the arcade and like £1 would be enough to play on all the video games not the video games. My God, I'm so old. £1, and you could go and play like 10 games, basically, couldn't you? It'd be like 10p for a go on something.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, when I was a kid, like £1 would get me 3 games of Skittles and possibly a good old session of whipsticks afterwards with a penny lick to finish it off. Oh.
Was that a cone of chips for 5p? Yeah, I feel sorry for kids that they don't have arcades anymore. The only place that you can really do, I mean, beaches still have them. There's usually some, but they're all super expensive and they're all super high tech. But I don't really want the high tech ones. I want that game that used to sit in and it had a chair that moved around on hydraulics, and every time you died, it went, oh. No? It was just like you'd be flying forwards, and as you move the gear stick, you would tilt left and right.
Were you a guy in a jetpack?
Stuff, and there was maybe. I can't
Contra?
quite remember. No, not Contra. That was a great game, though. No, yeah, you didn't drive that one. That was you just walked on that. Now I can't remember what it was called, but I just remember when you'd be in the arcade, even when the simulation for when you're not playing it would be happening in the background. You just heard oh the whole time. It was it was quality. But obviously now
I think
they're amazing.
my favorite arcade game that I can remember. It's a little bit later on from that, I think, but
Yeah.
and I can't remember what it's called. But you could play 2-player, and it was a side-scrolling shooter where you were cowboys,
Oh, cool.
and you could, like, as I say, it's 2-player, and you sort of basically had 2 levels. You could jump up to the balcony level and shoot down and all that sort
Yeah.
of thing. And then every now and then you get a stampede of bulls come along, and you had to jump at the right time and then run along the top of the bulls and then jump.
Yeah.
I always remember me and my mate Russ used to play that, and you got there's a power up. You could get sheriff's badges and power up, and it gave you 2
Yeah.
pistols. So you'd walk along and like up in the
Whoa.
air. Fucking next level, mate. That was. I spent so much money on that.
Yeah, I didn't begrudge it. I like shooting games, and I still like shooting games, and they're unfortunately they're still not unfortunately they're the only games that places still have that are any good, aren't they? When you go to a bowling, I mean, they'll still have House of the Dead 9000 or whatever it is, or there'll be like a Alien v Predator or a Jurassic Park game or something like that where you can still, you know, it's a shooting simulation, and I still, yeah. But there was one that I used to play, and it's just down Ventnor Arcade. I would have been 13 at the time. So there were better games out there. But it was a police one. So there was like a red pistol and a blue pistol, and it was all basically just targets. You weren't shooting at enemies as such. But they had loads of different types of games. But every single summer, every single day of this summer, this isn't true. It wasn't every single day. Every payday of the summer, all the change that I got in my wage slip, because I was on slave wages of, I don't know, like £1.30 an hour or something. So I was getting like 40 quid for 90 hours work. All that change I would pump into that machine. And by the end of the summer, I was absolutely amazing at it.
That wasn't, it wasn't Point Blank, was it?
Might have been. I mean, the name escapes me, but there was it was all just galleries.
Like little mini games.
Yeah, and loads of different.
Every now and then you get the super hard one with the little alien ship that used to be like, you try and have to shoot it, or.
In that, it would be like the circle, and it would have a cross in it, and it'd either be red and white or blue and white. And blue and white you didn't shoot because they were goodies or not targets.
Yeah, I don't know.
But there would be all sorts of things. It wasn't specifically a game. It was more just target shooting. But yeah, I used to love it. It was absolutely brilliant because it had like 10 different modes, but I was really good at it. So, you know, it's like when you're really, really good at those games, you get to play on, don't you?
Yeah, I think something quite large just flew behind your head.
Yeah, I've got like 4 flies in my lounge, and
right,
they've evolved to be able to just dodge everything. It's super annoying. Yes, I'll have to get a flamethrower out and kill them.
Well,
fucking
clearly.
driving.
Yeah, so
arcades. Oh no, but arcades now, the only place I've seen them are in fancy hipster bars. With actual vintage old school games.
Yeah. Oh, I remember a place in Smithfield in London when I lived near there, and it's a little Japanese bar, and all they used to serve was Japanese beer or sake.
Not bad.
And they had a table. They had a table version of I think it was Pong or something like that. And they'd made it into a coffee table, or a beer table, so you sit around it, but it was fully playable, so you could go like underneath the perspex thing and have a game with someone on the other side. And it was so like I spent so much time in there.
I obviously talk about arcades quite a lot in my life, and bloody hell, got a new coil in that. My Facebook algorithms have picked up on it, and I keep getting adverts for coin-ops, and more importantly, as you just said then, the coffee table ones that are a proper coffee table, but with like 20 games built into the little control sticks and all the buttons. And oh my God, I don't have that kind of money to just waste on a coffee. Like, I wouldn't spend, I think it's like 500 quid. So it's kind of reasonable for something that I want that badly.
It sounds like you're talking yourself into it as you're going.
Oh my God! If I had 500 quid that didn't need to get spent on something else, I would definitely buy it. That is the exact sort of thing I would love.
You've just done a full 360. You're like, I would never spend that much money on them. I mean, £500. I mean, that is quite reasonable. But yeah, I mean, if I had £500 free, I'd definitely get one. In fact, I've just ordered one. It's arriving tomorrow.
And unfortunately, as much as I would definitely love one, because I wouldn't want the big. I definitely would want the big coin, the big cabinet one. I 100% would definitely love one of them, but I don't have the space. But yeah, one of those glass-topped ones where you can have someone sat at either end of it, I'd rearrange the shit out of my lounge to make that work.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's absolutely amazing. I imagine my kids would love that as well.
Yeah.
But I will not be spending that money on that. That is, that's a lottery win job, that.
Yeah, but it's funny, isn't it? Like the difference between nostalgia and like your memory of stuff, because like certain things are nostalgic, like those sort of things. You go back, if you went back now and you played them, you'd just be like, oh my God, this brings back so many memories and all this.
Yeah.
Whereas more recent ones, like I've got quite a few emulators from different consoles and shit, and I'll think of a game like, oh, Altered Beast. However, how many times I played that when I was younger, I was like, I'm going to play it now. And it was shit.
Yeah.
I don't know where the line's drawn between things being nostalgic and things just being like good in your memory and shit in real life.
And that happens with a lot of things. Like, so I always list Secret of Mana up in my favourite games of all time. I haven't played that since it was on the Super Nintendo, and I don't think I'll ever play it again. I think I might have had an emulator on an old computer, and I had it on that, and I think I might have loaded it up and then just thought, this isn't a clever move. I'm going to ruin this game because it's clearly very basic. And it really was basic, but it was a fantastic game.
Yeah.
And then it happens with movies as well, like Flight of the Navigator.
Yeah. I still like that.
When did you last watch it?
Last year, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I watch it quite regularly. I quite enjoy it.
Oh, because last time I watched that was like 18 or 19. I just was living away. I'd moved in with my mate. And I just got a VCR in my bedroom. I put my VCR down in the lounge. I had a DVD player as well, but between
you had a VCR in your bedroom.
Well, I was like 19. I had a DVD player, but it was downstairs in the lounge for everybody to use. That's why I wanted a VCR in my bedroom.
That's the only reason anyone ever wanted one.
Definitely. Best Christmas present I ever got was a VCR in my room. You didn't have to sit down by the TV and like, someone's coming. Is that steps? Quick, turn it off. You don't worry about your knob being caught out. You're more worried about the tape being on the TV. Yeah, that's what pillows are for. But yeah, I watched it when I was like 19 or 20, and I was really looking forward to watching it, and oh, what a letdown it was.
Yeah.
But, that happens. So now I do try to not watch stuff that I've built up in my head massively from yesteryear.
Yeah. I don't know, because I see that for me is all nostalgia, because it's that Cocoon. Oh my God, I could watch Cocoon over and over again.
Now, Cocoon, isn't that the one about the old peoples who were like weak and feeble, and then some aliens land in a pool and they all just start boning each other?
Yeah, that's pretty much sums it up. I mean, it's probably not the synopsis you'd find on IMDb, but yeah, I think you're close enough.
It will be on Wikipedia after I've had my way with it. Yeah, I remember watching that quite a bit as a kid. It was always on, wasn't it? Every year, that and half a dozen other films were always being played.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, you see, I don't want to revisit it.
No, I regularly watch all them. I mean, what about Goonies?
Goonies is still brilliant,
Yeah,
but I
good at
think
least.
Spielberg was a particularly good film, wasn't he? I mean,
Yeah,
half the things he did were just brilliant, and it's not like he relied on massive special effects to make his movies, because I find that's a big issue for me, is when special effects look really, really shit, like claymation. I love it. I
yeah, like the old
absolutely.
Harryhausen sort of special effects, like Sinbad and all that sort of thing.
Sinbad, yes,
Yeah,
Sinbad, and all of stop motion animation. I absolutely love it. I think it's fantastic. There's something,
yeah,
and I appreciate the amount of work that goes into it because it's so difficult. But when CGI first came around and was being regularly used, like in the late 80s, early 90s, is when I'm specifically thinking. When they were using that, now it just looks so terrible. When kids' programs nowadays have better special effects than the CGI from back in the day, it's like when you watch the second Matrix movie. When that first came out, wow, it was
yeah.
so impressive.
Mind blowing.
And like that fight when he's in a courtyard and he pulls the bar out of the ground and starts spinning it around, killing all the Agent Smiths.
Yeah,
That looked fresh when it first came out, and then you rewatch it now and you're like, yikes! Like games look better than this.
yeah,
There was like a sweet spot where shit special effects still for me hold true and they still look fantastic.
yeah.
Whereas old ones just not so much. I feel like also having 4K TVs doesn't help anything, because you watch 4K TV and everything just looks a bit too real.
Yeah, and you can see when like blood CGI'd and stuff like that,
Yeah,
which is which I hate that. I hate
yeah,
that.
I'm just a nightmare for it. I'm always picking little holes. I'm like, oh, that glass is, the water level's going up and down.
Yeah,
Oh, now it's empty. Full empty. Yeah, so stuff like that really stands out to me.
yeah.
Although I did miss the coffee cup in Games of Thrones first time I watched it.
I did as well. Yeah.
Yeah, the second, once it was pointed out, and there's also a phone at one point as well. Or
Oh,
is
is
that
it?
The Walking Dead? No, it's The Walking Dead. You don't watch The Walking Dead anymore, do you?
I've seen quite a lot of it. I think I'm up to series 10.
So have you got the Whisperers?
Yeah,
Okay, Beta, the big boy.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure at one point he picks somebody up by the neck because he's enormous motherfucking flies. He picks somebody up by the neck, and you can see in his pocket he's got the shape of it. You know, the classic iPhone shape in your pocket that
Yeah.
every normal person has. Yeah, you can just see it in his pocket. And you're like, well, that ain't going to be working, is it? I'm pretty sure they weren't commonplace even when this outbreak started.
Maybe he's
Like
just holding on to the past.
Oh, could be. Yeah, I suppose. I think he's meant to be a basketball player. No, he's a musician, isn't he? He's a musician. He's famous. Whoever he is in that universe, he's famous
Right.
for some. I think in the TV show they've made him like a country and western singer or something. But in the comic books, I'm pretty sure he was like an NBA basketball player or something like that. Because there's always comments about how he's so fast, even though he's massive.
Yeah. I'd
But
assume
yeah,
that would just come with having like fucking like metre and a half long legs.
no, you'd think that. Quite slow. Oh, I mean, put me in Apocalypse for 5 years, and I'm pretty sure I'd speed up or die. Well, there's your two choices, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, you fatten right up.
See, it's just weird when it's just me and you. When you got everybody else ganging up on me, it seems a little bit less like you're coming on to me.
Oh.
Oh, I do like them chunky. Another spoonful of sugar, is it, sir?
Guzzle the honey.
Yeah, amazing. So when you were a youngster, we make that a little bit older. When TV first went into colour.
Oh God.
Yeah, totally. What was like your favourite film growing up?
My
Did you have
favourite film growing up.
Yeah.
Oh,
This segment we're going to call "Getting to Know Mushu."
I think it would probably be the Bond films, and it's purely for sentimental reasons. That just like that's when I remember me, mum, dad, and my brother all sitting down together and
Yeah.
watching something because it was like a family thing. Oh, you know, film starting, right? We, you know, all grab a can of Coke and a bag of crisps or something, and just sit there all together and watch a Bond movie. And I used to love them anyway because again, it's the fighting. It's so bad it's good. Oh, that nearly went in your face.
I
Yeah,
know.
it's so bad it's good, if you know what I mean. The fighting and
Yeah.
I love it. I love that sort of stuff. So
Well,
yeah,
no,
probably that.
we spoke about Bond films, and I watched them all the time. But I'm not a massive James Bond fan. The you know, they are quality movies, and some of them are fantastic. Goldfinger, Goldeneye, I think was the one that I said was my favourite when we talked about it last time. Yeah, I liked him, but I liked him for the gadgets and the gunplay. Always loved the guns.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wasn't watching age-appropriate stuff when I was a kid at all.
No. No, one thing I do remember. Sorry, just before you start,
No.
I remember one of my friends. I can't remember his name. Andrew, I think it was, but he used to have this videotape of this. It was like a TV show made up of all shit adverts from around the world.
Okay.
And he'd taped the whole episode of it. And right at the very end, there was an advert. It was like some Swedish advert for a newspaper, and it was
Yeah.
set in a sauna, and it was
Ooh.
like all full nudity, like. And there's just like these women walking around naked. And I remember him, like, I used to go around his and we'd just like watch it right to that end bit. I was like, oh.
I mean, as a
Yeah.
kid, all the porn I had was on the end of VHS tapes that my mum had recorded over from one of her husbands. He obviously had shitloads of porn. And like my favourite tape, still to this day really bugged me. I had a cassette and it said Short Circuit 2. There was another movie, which it might have been Tank Girl, I'm not sure, but I quite liked Tank Girl growing up. Do not tape over. At the end of it, it was one of those amazing tapes. You know, you got those tapes that were like 5 hours long.
Yeah.
It had 2 movies on it, and then a solid hour of porn. It was a solid hour. And I got shipped off to Hogwarts when I was 13, and I left it there because I didn't have a VHS player at the time. And I still, to this day, have no idea why that bastard did it. My brother fucking recorded over it. Not just the porn. I could almost understand that. It was like my secret was out. He knew where the porn was on the end of this 2 videos. But he taped over Short Circuit. They were like movies I genuinely enjoyed watching. Yeah, go to put it in. Nothing. Don't even know what he recorded over it. But I was just like, why did you tape over? It literally says don't tape over. You son of a... Yeah, I wasn't happy about that. So then I only had a shit German one that had no sound, you know.
Yeah, but then another one of my mates, you know, he had a legit porn like on VHS.
Whoa.
I know. Yeah, you know, his brother had fucking brought it back from France or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, one of those private ones.
Was it in a paper sleeve, so it almost simulated jerking off, or was it in just like a massive plastic case?
No, yeah, it had an enormous case with it and everything. You know, with ladies with their boobs out and the little stars on them, so you can't actually see anything.
Yeah. Oh, I wonder what's under them.
But the thing is, he so overused it. You know, with VHS when you used to pause it.
Yeah.
And like, so you'd have some like lady like taking off her shirt, and you'd be like, oh yeah. Then she goes around, unclips the bra, and just as it comes off, it's like for fucking ages. It's like you've ruined this. I'm trying to see a bit of nipple through the snowstorm now, and it's not working.
That reminds me of a really a funny story of I won't say their names. I don't think they'll watch this, but I won't say them anyway. When I moved to where I live now, I got friendly with some people, and this guy started dating somebody, and I was friends with her as well. So it was a small town, and she said how they found one of this guy's dad's porn tapes, and they put it on to watch it together. Because those who play together stay together, as they say. And they're watching this porn, and they're like, but we had to turn it off because of that very reason. When the tapes get all eroded and all nasty from them being watched, that section, when that happened, was real kinky BDSM. It's like the whips and the leather all came out, and it all just started going grainy and horrible. And obviously, that was it. His dad's preferred time, and is the specific thing that he was really enjoying. But kids today won't know, or won't ever understand.
No,
that one precious VHS that you've got that's got 10 minutes of porn at the end because your old man had a load, and your mum had made him tape over it with Bugsy Malone or something wholesome.
Yeah, stuff like that. And the porn hedge. Every village had a porn hedge, didn't it?
Yeah. I used to building sites. It was always porn in building sites, which makes me wonder. I've never been a builder. I've never worked on a site. But what do they do all day? They just sit around jerking off on their tea bags. Yeah, just
polishing their helmets, I guess.
Well, yeah. Safety first, boys. Make sure it's nice and shiny. Yeah, because in no job have I ever worked have there been stacks of pornography.
No, not that I can remember. I mean, I worked in a newsagent's once, but that doesn't count.
No, because that's all. You work with Jeeves as well, so
Well, yeah, just get snatched up, be hoovered. Yeah, but what was I going to say about you had the porn hedge? Yeah, because it's. And it would always be like a copy of Razzle or something like that. Something really nasty.
I loved Razzle.
The front cover would always have some kind of fluid damage, which was never questioned at the time. As long as it opened and it kind of peeled off the next page, you didn't really care what it was, did you, at that age? Whoa, look.
Is the crinkly watermarks up pages and the crackle. That was when you knew you had a well-loved magazine.
But the thing is, it was like,
God.
the more the pages were stuck together, the more you wanted to see what warranted that. So, I mean, I know it's good. I just got to get it open. Maybe if I just moisten it.
Exactly. I've got £1. Can you get these pages open? Oh dear. Yeah. It was a dark time. But they say porn's the oldest industry in the world, don't they? Yeah. Or is that the sex trade in general?
I think it's the sex trade in general.
But yes, apparently within an hour of the video cameras going on sale to public use, porn had been made. I mean, that's quite impressive.
Well, yeah.
An hour. Imagine. I mean, you're reading your which monthly 1947. You're like, oh my God, 2 months until the camera comes out. And you're like, right, well, we need to find a seedy green leather sofa. Let's go.
Well, it's just, yeah, let's make plans to film each other's junk. I mean, I would. No, not. Yeah, well, I'm not saying me.
I don't want to make a problem with you, Lucy. It's not happening. That's for OnlyFans.
Oh my God, that would make such a good clip.
I bet you would. Oh. No, I'm not making a problem with you. No one wants to see that.
No, oh fuck yeah. Well,
and start watching it, and people will be like, "Oh, this must be a before and after Weight Watchers video. Let's see where this goes."
Why is the guy's head upside down suddenly? Oh, fucking hell.
Well, they all look like they're having fun. Oh, dear. Well, anyway, coming off the subject of porn, or vintage porn, growing up, my favourite movie is a toss-up between Predator and Terminator 2. Both of them. To this day, I still absolutely love those movies.
Yeah, I mean, Predator. Yeah, I remember that being so gruesome. The first time I
Yeah,
saw it, it's just like, whoa.
it's funny because me and my brother, we were allowed to watch those. There was no problem. Mum didn't mind, didn't have a problem. But we did have a couple of cassettes that said "not for the boys." And eventually, I ended up watching one of them. I know it's borderline. It's like, oh, did they buy a video camera? They haven't. It was one. It was Hamburger Hill, the old Vietnam movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that said, Hamburger Hill, not for the boys. Bearing in mind, we'd probably watched Terminator and Predator 100 times by this point. So I think I'm about 15 or 16 at this point, and I've still got this tape, and I've been a good boy. I've not watched it. So I decided to watch it. Once I got a VHS player in my room, and I stroked out for the day. I stuck it on, and I was like, if I'm not allowed, I don't know, I just didn't understand. I was like, why the fuck am I not allowed to watch that? As far as I'm aware, the worst bit of that is when they're running up a hill and a helicopter mows them all down.
Yeah. Wasn't there a bit where someone gets hit with an RPG as well and explodes?
Oh, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, you know. But the thing is, I knew what was real and what wasn't. It's not like I was going to try and blow anyone up. Like when Freddie watches stuff that isn't real, I do make sure he knows, you know, you can play a zombie game, that's fine, but do not do this to people. Just do not do this. Yeah, you know, they're not real. It is fake. Yeah, it was weird. The lines that were drawn. It's like, no, you can watch that, but you can't watch this.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
remember having nightmares from an episode of Bergerac once.
Bergerac.
Yeah, I know.
That's a Sunday night TV, that is.
I used to love a bit of Bergerac, mate.
Oh, God.
I still remember the theme tune. Yeah, it's awesome. But yeah, there was an episode of that.
Before or after Lovejoy?
You what?
Was that before or after Lovejoy was on?
Oh, I never got into Lovejoy, mate. No, Bergerac was a class of his own, though, wasn't he? Shout out to you, Bergerac. Yeah, no, there was an episode where there was some sort of ghost or something like that, and my mum wouldn't let me watch the end of it, and that's why I was having nightmares, because I kept thinking it was a real ghost, because I was quite young at the time, and I had to go back and secretly watch because my dad used to record it just in case he fell asleep. So I watched it. And I watched all of it, and I watched the bit at the end where they showed that it wasn't a ghost; it was a bloke doing all of the stuff. And as soon as I watched that, I was fine. But
I have a very, very similar story, actually. For fuck's sake, I swear, when I think back to my childhood, there's shit that I won't let my kids do. That was fun. So I would have been 8 or 9, and it came out in 1990, didn't it? The Tim Curry one.
Yeah.
So it came out in 1990. So 8 or 9 seems about right. It's probably about 91, 92, something like that. It comes on the film, and they do it in 2 parts, and they did it in 2 parts over 2 weeks, which is just horrific. I saw the first half of that movie now. I don't know if you've seen it. I assume you have, though. Yeah. Yep. The first half of that film is fantastic. It's incredible. Pennywise is absolutely terrifying in it. It's all about kids conveniently my age at the time, having armed bits, being chased by clowns and into sewers, and they used to play down in a little river, didn't they? And that just so happened to be the exact place I would play as a kid.
Yeah.
Play down Creek. So it was super relatable. Genuinely, that there's bits of it that I loved, and also bits of it that scared the shit out of me. And I did not sleep for fucking days after watching that. The faces of clowns now, still to this day, give me the EBGBs. Not a fan. Don't trust a clown. Never trust a clown. But I never saw the back half of it. I didn't see the second half of it until I was in my late teens. Maybe. Yeah, no, I think it was my late teens. I would have seen it by then. You right there?
Yeah, just a lot of noise going on.
Oh, okay. I got loads on my end as well. Yeah, it's like a bloody holiday park here. Yours must be like a traveller site.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So I never got any resolution from it. But when I was a teenager, I still saw it in the first half of it, still shit me right up. I was like, I'm more into this. And I saw the second half, and they just kill a fucking spider by lobbing a bit of silver at it and then literally pulling it apart. And I was like, well, that's not scary at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, you've got to see things through to the end. If you start these horrible films and you don't get an ending from it, Christ, it fucks you up.
Yeah.
It's the only time I ever remember going into my old dear's room and being like, I'm too scared to sleep. And she gave me the advice to literally say the Hail Marys. Just literally, she's like, oh, whenever I'm scared, say a Hail Mary. And she was like, come on then, let's say it. She couldn't even remember it. She couldn't even remember the whole fucking thing. It's like, I went to a Catholic school in the Isle of Wight, so Hail Marys and Our Fathers and stuff, they made us say those all the time. So obviously I knew it. And yeah, she was saying it, and obviously I was still terrified that this fucking clown was just going to eat me in my sleep. Yeah, she's like, Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. And I'm like, blessed art thou. Yeah. So that night, I don't remember sleeping, but I do remember saying about 7,000 Hail Marys over and over and over. Yeah.
You would have thought after the first 1,000, you'd be like, this isn't working. I'll try something. I'll buy a gun. I'll go and get a knife from the kitchen or something.
I had loads of toy guns as a kid, and I definitely would have had my Swiss Army knife clutched in my hand, and probably either had a cap gun. I always thought, what would you do if like somebody broke in and you're a 9-year-old? I'd be like, I'd shoot the cats by their ears. It's really loud and be really distracting. So I think I had a cap gun in one hand and me Swiss Army knife just to hand, just in case. Maybe under my pillow or something. While I'm shitting myself that clowns are going to eat me.
Yeah.
Oh dear. But have you seen the remake? The current version. Good.
I think. I probably prefer the way they've done the ending in that.
The
ending. I know they've. I know
they've
got to sort of stick semi-close to what the King wrote, but I prefer it. The ending. But I still think the first film's got some of the creep factor is amazing, like the black and white photo winking suddenly. Like, I remember that just like it was
the first half of that TV movie with Tim Curry was just incredible. It really was. You're right, the black and white photo. Because they tried that with the new one, didn't they? The projector on the wall in the garage. Now that, and no word of a lie, I screamed like a little bitch in the cinema. I went with my friend Charmaine. Hats off to you, Char. I'm so sorry I ruined it for you. And because we've had this discussion between me and her many a time. And when we saw it was being remade, I was like, we're going to see it. We're definitely going to see it. And I'm sat next to her, and she's dead inside. Nothing fucking phases her. She's an absolute legend. Love Charmaine so much, it's absolutely ridiculous. But dead inside. And I'm there, and I'm tense. I'm tense. I'm really fucking tense. And then that motherfucking clown bursts out the fucking wall. All 6'5" of me is screaming. And she's just there, and she just turns to me, and she's like, she's like, we got out, and we're talking about it, and she's like, yeah, it probably would have been scary if you hadn't been fucking crying like a little girl. Oh, yeah, it's so it still got me, but it was different. It was those like terrifying moments. They weren't sort of like they terrify you to your core like the original, where a painting moving or a picture moving slightly. Oh god, just looking around at pictures up my wall makes me creepy. They fucking wink at me. I'm gonna die.
But they've I think they've done quite well in redesigning Pennywise as well, because obviously Tim Curry was such a unique actor. Back then, they didn't have all the makeup and stuff like that. And if they'd have tried to do that sort of thing again, just putting a clown suit on an actor, it wouldn't have worked. And I
No.
think, like, with the slightly off-center eyes, that puts people off kilter straight away. You know,
Is that what it is about him?
well, he has got slightly off-center eyes. Yeah, if you look, he's ever so slightly not cross-eyed, but the opposite.
Oh, okay. So even my brother have been likened to him a few times.
And the accent as well. I think it's a genius touch. Just because you're like, what fucking accent is that? The new one.
Yes, yeah, the new one. The dribbling, the constant dribbling. It's so animalistic, and
yeah,
it's like taboo, isn't it? The kids, it's okay to dribble. Old people, it's okay to dribble. But when grown-ups start dribbling, it triggers something inside you that makes you think, oh, they're either ill or there's something wrong with them. Or maybe it's to do with strokes, because people have a stroke and you start dribbling. I don't know.
Yeah.
It gives you it gives it an uneasy feeling when I start seeing people dribbling, which, considering how often I dribble, is one of those things. But yeah, I found that almost constant stream of that, like, it looked viscous. It didn't look like normal dribble. It was
like a Doberman, like when a dog's hungry. It's that sort of thing.
Yeah, it really was, and it was a nice touch, because you didn't have that with the original Pennywise. The original Pennywise, as you said, they didn't have the effects to the level that we do now.
Yeah,
and it was scarier because it felt like it could be just Joe Bloggs down the road dressed up in a clown suit, you know. Hey, Georgie, do you want to come down here? What's that smell? It's popcorn. It's. I feel that they did a magical thing. What I didn't like so much about the new one, is to do with Pennywise. Is when he opened his mouth, I feel like there was too many teeth. It felt like a whirlpool of teeth, whereas the Tim Curry one, it just went from normal to
sharp.
Just a row of just sharp teeth, and that just genuinely looked terrifying. It was like a shark's bite or like a big cat or something like that.
Yeah.
Whereas the new one, it was creepy up until he opened his mouth, and I'm like, oh, it's just sort of like a trash compactor with swirls of teeth. I don't know. It was
kind of like a toothy asshole.
Yeah, like a toothy asshole. I definitely wouldn't want to go in there. That's the sequel to Teeth, or Teeth 1, Teeth 2. Circle toothy asshole.
And this is why you don't do advertising. So, Teeth 2, the Ring of Death, or something like that.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, well, that'll cancel the fad of rimming that's been going around, won't it? I think Corona killed that off, actually. You don't see kids talking about eating ass anymore, do you?
I'm pretty sure you're not allowed to. Bojo doesn't want you to.
Oh, Bojo doesn't want to do fucking anything. He's really getting on my tits lately. I mean, he's really getting on my tits.
Well,
Fat Plum. I think he thinks he's like a dictator or a fucking king of the country. He's only a fucking prime minister. I mean, he's like trying to fucking tax fat people now, isn't he? He can't be fat. I've lost a bone. Yeah, he's doing something to ban advertising before 9 p.m. for like all fatty foods. He's going to stop buy one get one free offers for sweets and chocolates. Put the calorie content on booze. And whenever they do anything like that, it just feels like they're just having a pop at poor people. Because rich people, it doesn't thing. They've got all the money in the world. If they want to buy 8 chocolate bars,
they will.
They can just buy chocolate bars. But if they want to buy 8 chocolate bars because they've got 4 kids and that's their packed lunches sorted for the week, that's amazing. But all of a sudden, if you've got no bog off offers or any kind of offers on that, it's just like, sorry, kids, no chocolate for you. You're not allowed it. Scrooge didn't give us our bonus this year.
just a small portion of roasted turnip.
Yeah, but as luck happens, apples are still well expensive, so you can still have an apple. Brilliant. It's not quite the same. So he's been getting right on my tits. But I mean, it'll probably backtrack by the time this is released.
Quite possibly. There we go.
So another non-existent interlude there for people. I think we'll go away from the subject of horrific movies for a bit.
Yeah. Why don't we pick up with what we were just talking about in said interlude?
Yeah.
Because you've got me intrigued.
Okay, so pretty much anybody who knows me, I live in a caravan on an actual proper traveller site. I mean, 90% of my neighbours are Irish, and the other 10%, no, that's me. That 9% of them are foreign. But it is by far the most interesting place I've ever lived. And because of Corona, there was meant to be some, I can't remember what it was. You know those horse fairs where they all gather and they race horses and buggies? There's one nearby where I can't remember what it's called. It's quite a famous one though. When I was talking to a friend about it, they're like, oh, such and such fair should have been on, but it's been cancelled. I recognise the name, but I can't right now remember what it's called. Well, anyway, on Friday, I go to pull into the area. There's like it's a bit like a car park, but it's not a car park. And then a road that comes off of it where it comes up to our site. And I go to pull in there, and I can't pull in. And there's two entrances because there's like 40 trucks in there. I'm like, oh shit. So I quickly got the other bit. It's fine. I go through. Don't think anything of it. And then Saturday morning, I go to work, and it's like 5 o'clock in the morning. And I'm going to drive out, and the whole fucking road after where it becomes private property is lined with cars. And down in the front, there's like an angry mob. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? And got people driving towards me, and there's nowhere for them to go. So like I sort of reverse into a bush a little bit so they can get past me. And I try and drive out. It takes me 20 minutes to get onto the fucking road because there's some sort of there's people and there's horses everywhere. There's like all these little buggies and stuff. And I'm there, and I'm trying to drive forwards, and there's these like it's not herds, groups of people just stood there, and they turn around, they look at me, and I'm like trying to drive forwards, and they just turn around and start talking to their friends again. And I'm like, get out of the fucking way. And it makes more space for you guys to sort of just stand there. But eventually, no word of a lie, 20 minutes later, I was late for work that day. I get out onto the road, and there's nothing really going on the main road. It's kind of a main road that I live on. It runs parallel with the M3. I think it used to be the route to London way back in the day. So it's a bit of dual carriageway. Anyway, so I go along that. It's absolutely fine. Then I turn around so I can go towards Winchester. And along the road, there's literally some dude racing a horse in a little buggy going along. And I'm like, you've taken me 20 minutes. And normally I'm really fucking considerate when I drive past people with horses. Because, horses they're animals. They don't need to have a fucking car going past. But I was like, you've made me so late. 80. I shot straight past him. I was just like, no, go as fast as I fucking can. I was like, I gotta get to work. I'm already 20 minutes behind.
Cuffing on the way past.
Well, yeah. I thought about it. I was certainly angry. So then I get home. I'll have my kids over to stay. So this would have been Saturday night. So I come back with the kids, and it's like, oh, kids, there might be a bunch of horses in the front bit, because they love it when I come over here, because we turn around the corner into our area, and sometimes it'll just be a road. Other times it'll be ponies, just loads of fucking ponies, just everywhere. Like the first time they saw it, they were like, oh, this horse, and like everybody's so friendly around here. It's amazing. It's like the 1990s. They're all, they stand out there in their vests chatting away. And I drove past, and with the windows down, I was like, kids, look at the horses. And they'll be like, oh, we took it out for a walk, and give it a little wash, which I presume was, I'll take him out for a walk, give him a wash before the sun gets up, and then he dries off in the sun during the day. But I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, so I'm like, oh, there could be a bunch of horses. Keep your eye out. I mean, if the amount of people that were there in the morning were still there, they wouldn't have to keep an eye out. They wouldn't be able to see anything but it. But instead, there was a fucking meat wagon. There was a meat wagon blocking one of the entrances in, and there was like, what were those signs that police put up? I want to say, like, they say police aware or something like that.
Yeah,
like
there's police aware ones.
It might be police aware, yeah. For about half a mile before I got to mine, there were like police aware signs all the way along the road. So I don't quite know what happened while I was at work, but I assume something went down and they got shifted on. But yeah, I mean, it was definitely one of the more interesting mornings from coming to work. I mean, you don't get that when you live in the centre of a town, do you?
No, mate, no. That's I mean, I couldn't do it. I don't think I couldn't do that. I couldn't live like that. No.
I was just so surprised everybody was awake. And like I like creep out of mine and like I drive really slowly because I don't want to upset my neighbours because I do leave for work really early.
Yeah.
And I've got to go through like a couple of gates and stuff. So like I like to think I'm quite considerate. Until I get onto the main road and I was straight off that fucking road.
Yeah.
But yeah, while I'm inside the site, maybe compound. No, compound is where I am. Site is where we are. I think. Yeah, while I'm in there, I drive really fucking slowly. And when I just came out, I was like, it's like 500 people awake. What the fuck? How late am I for work? It's like I've never seen anything like it. It was just everywhere. The messy fuckers, though. There was a lot of rubbish left out the front. I was like quite some. Well, I don't know. I mean, I see all the posts on Facebook, and people are pretty mean about them in general. But there was a shit ton of fucking rubbish.
Well,
just
you
left
know
on the
what?
side.
Just saying that. We had a load of travellers move in when I used to live in Plymouth. They moved in just up the road, and everyone was like, "Oh God, look, you know, they're going to cause so much mess and all of this." And so the council, rather than trying to move them on, they supplied them with wheelie bins, and just told them where to leave them.
That's a good solution.
And you know what? They stayed there for 6 months. We didn't hear a peep out of them. If anything, they were actually quite helpful. You know, they'd be like, because it was a massive Tesco's nearby, you'd always see the little sort of traveller lads sort of helping the old women along with their shopping for a couple of quid and stuff like that. Yeah. And by the end of it, everyone, they sort of upped and left, and everyone's like, oh. You know, it's quite disappointing.
I needed to get fucking trees. I mean, yeah, it's brilliant. I've pulled in a couple of times. I know I've told you this story, but I mean, assuming as we're talking about it, I love it. So I've pulled in before, and I got stopped by like a little flock of kids on the entrance, and they were like, "Ah, can we wash your car for £2?" It's like, I ain't got any fucking cash. We're in a pandemic. I ain't got none. I was like, sorry, mate, I ain't got any money. We'll do it for £1. I was like, no, seriously, it's really nice. Thanks for offering it. I really respect the fact that you just want to earn a bit of money. I was like, I ain't got any cash. I was like, yeah, you know what? You can have that money. You can have the money I've got in the centre console because, you know, everyone's always got about 50p in there, haven't they? Yeah. I gave that to them. And there was like one of those little tokens, that, you know, the trolley tokens in there.
Yeah.
And one of them's leaning on my wing mirror. I was like, oh, get off my car. It's that next to him. It's like, yeah, get off the fucking man's car. Well, it still makes me chuckle. The legend that boy is. Yeah, he spots this token. He's like, can I have £1? I was like, well, no. No, you can't have £1. And I was like, and it's not £1 anyway. I was like, that's my trolley token. It was my gym token, but same difference. I was like, get off. But unfortunately, I signed a rod for my own back on that one because the next day I got back and they tried to stop me again. And one of them had an air rifle, didn't they? Yeah, I don't know. He must have been like 4 or 5 years old. He definitely was. It was a beautiful air rifle, absolutely stunning. It was silenced. It was definitely a 2-2, a massive great silent. I assume it's like his older brothers or something. And yeah, motherfucker points it in my face. I was like, get that fucking gun out my face. And the same lad, get off the man's fucking car. He like, literally gets the gun. He's like, don't point it at him. Yeah, and I drove off. But now I don't stop for him. I mean, which is annoying because there have been a couple of times where I've been like, do you know what? I could use my windows being washed. Driving along and being like, go on, you got a bucket of soapy water. It's well dusty around here.
The problem is, so far, based on that story, you've got a 50-50 of whether they're going to be wanting to be earning their money or just rob you blind.
Well, you didn't ask me for anything. He just pointed it at me. But, you know, gun safety, you don't point a gun, loaded or not, in anybody's face, do you?
No, unless you want that £1 token.
Yeah. I mean, it's quite a fancy. I didn't even pay for that £1 token. I found it in the in a locker at gym. I was like, result. Thank you very much. That's me dropping it into my car, by the way, in case you're wondering what I was miming. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting place to live. I like it.
I think it should be a definite like thing that we come back to. Your tales from the site.
There are more, but yeah, as I say, they're not as interesting as those. Saturday morning, that was an experience. I hadn't had a cup of coffee either, so I was just like, fucking move.
No, all cranky and shit.
Yeah. I was already running a little bit late. I was like, I can't get a fucking cup of coffee. I had a can of energy drink, which was waiting until I got to work. I cracked that open for a bit of caffeine. And yeah, I was just like, this is 20 minutes to get out of my fucking house to a road. What is this, a snow day?
Then come back to a crime scene.
yeah, I hadn't even thought of that. I don't really know many people around here, so I don't know actually what went on. I should ask someone really, but
I don't know. You're risky business, isn't it? Because everyone's related. Someone's died.
Yeah.
You could be asking a sore question.
Yeah, and I assume it's more to do with the fact that there was definitely no social distancing happening. I mean, this could have been a carnival or a fair or anything like that. I mean, the crowds were impressive. I haven't seen groups of people like that in months and months and months. Like, I see it on the telly, and I'm just like, oh, how close they all are.
Yeah.
I mean, I bet you can eat off of that person. Yeah. It was crazy. But again, amusing. I mean, I've never had stories like that before. Normally, it's like, some dickhead broke down on the motorway and I got stuck in traffic for 20 minutes. No, just 500 people and horses just parading in front of me. I've never lived a commute away from work either. I've always moved to the town that I work in. Or if I'm in a town, I find a job within that town, because I didn't start driving until I was in my mid-20s. So whenever I lived somewhere, it was just easier just to move every year or so. Lived in the centre of Southampton, and I worked in Southampton, so I just used to walk to work. And yeah, when I became a postie, that's they give you a bike, don't they? Well, they did. So I just used to ride that to work.
Well, yeah, you might as well.
Well, yeah. Or I was walking distance, and then I got a car. So yeah,
the worst commute I ever had was when I used to live in Ryde, and I worked in PC World in Portsmouth, which is right over the other side of Portsmouth. So I'd have to cycle from my house in Ryde to the Fast Cat, get the ferry over to Portsmouth, and then cycle right the way through Portsmouth and then back again at the end of the night.
Oh my God, how long did you do that for? I didn't realise you did, because I've known a few people over the years to live on the island, work on the mainland, and the idea of paying for a boat every single day, it's like, surely there's better jobs. Or worse paying jobs, but with the amount of money you're spending, because I know you can get commuter tickets that are quite reasonable.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can't remember how much it cost me. I think it was like, I don't even want to guess because I really don't know. But yeah, I used to buy the yearly pass, for the Fast Cat.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and then the cycle wasn't too bad. The cycle took me about 40 minutes the other side.
Oh, shit. The other side of Portsmouth?
Yeah, because I had to go right through Portsmouth. Yeah, I had to follow the seawall right along and then cut through Portsmouth to get to sort of the industrial estates the other side. It was 2 railway stops away.
It's quite flat. Not too bad to cycle along, is it?
No, I remember I punched a businessman once because he just stepped out in front of me while I was cycling, and I hit him. I got up and he was like giving it all that, so I just whacked him and carried on cycling.
Fair enough.
But, yeah.
I've wanted to whack many a cyclist over the years. Oh my God, I just so I got a convertible, and it is on one of those baking hot days, and I cycle along a dual carriageway in Eastleigh, and I'm not cycling, I'm driving. There's a little bit of dual carriageway where the motorways come off onto. It leads down into Eastleigh town centre, and I'm driving along, and the footpaths are cycle paths, so they're super wide, got all the signs on it, and there's this douchebag. I fucking hate cyclists who dress like they're doing the fucking Tour de France.
Oh,
Really
yeah.
pisses me off. The only time that's acceptable is if there's 4 of the cunts and it's a Sunday morning. That's the only time I'm just like, yeah, good on you, lads. But when it's just the middle of the fucking afternoon, there's cars absolutely everywhere, and they're on the roads when they've got an actual cycle path, I'm just like, get on the fucking cycle path. You're slowing everybody down, you selfish fuck. Which, when you're in a convertible, you can say to the cyclist. And I did this, and then the traffic lights turned red. Which wasn't a problem, because he started laying into me, and I literally turned around and I was like, well, fucking cycle on your fucking cycling lane, you stupid fucking... Lights go green, so I just drive forwards. Didn't get to finish that sentence. But he's there screaming and shouting abuse at me, because he started the second run of abuse. And I just went full fucking throttle on him. I was like, nah, this isn't washing. And I just drive off, and I look in my wing mirror, and there's another car has stopped in front of him and done that thing where you turn in front so they can't cycle past. And this other driver has got out of his car, and he's proceeded to scream at him as well for fucking driving on the fucking road. I'm absolutely dying. It was fucking brilliant. That was the best thing ever. I was just like, yeah, use your fucking cycle path, man. These are designed for you to keep you safe, not for you to fucking cycle down the middle of a dual carriageway and slow everyone down.
Yeah, too right.
Yeah.
I love it when you I love it when you sort of make these little road friendships as well.
Yeah.
Like suddenly
totally.
you and that guy are just bonded in your common hatred towards the cyclist.
100%. He would get instantly, if I both ended up in a pub, he'd have got one for a beer straight away. I mean, like you, sir. Well,
it's like motorway buddies. If you've ever done long distance driving or anything like that, I always end up making motorway buddies, and like I'll see a car and I'll just sort of stick with them because they're going a sensible speed, not too fast, not too slow. You can hang behind them for a bit. They don't hog the fast lane or anything like that. They just drive sensibly, and you end up just like, yeah, I'm comfortable behind you. And I do that for loads, and then like they'll turn off or something like that, or you'll be like, oh,
you shed a little tear.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Okay, he's gone.
so long, Renault Clio, and then you've got to find a new one. And sometimes you think you found the one, and then you're like, oh no, this guy's a bit of a twat. Actually, he doesn't indicate, or he cuts up people, or something like that, and you feel a little bit let down.
I use the motorway every single day, and I've started doing that real. I don't know if it's aggressive or not, but like I drive on the left as much as possible. I stick the slow lane, if you will. I'll always go into it if it's appropriate. I'll never stick in the middle, and I only use the outside bit if I'm overtaking. That is basically I drive like an old man. I buy cheap cars, so I don't want to drive at 100 miles an hour because they'll break. But when people just stick in the fucking middle lane, so now what I've started to do is when dickheads are fucking sticking in the middle lane, if I have to go into the outside lane to overtake them, but they could easily pull over, I hold down the fucking high beams and just flash the shit out of them while I'm going around them. And like 9 times out of 10, they then pull over and they're like, oh, maybe I could drive properly for a fucking change. It's just such a no-brainer. I don't understand it. They really get on my nerves. I'm just like, you just fucking pull over. It's I find I like changing lanes because it keeps me more alert. I'm way more aware of what's going on than if I'm just fucking cruising along in the middle. Like obviously I've done it. I'm more comfortable being over on the left, just poodling along at 65.
I'm very much the same. As long as it's not going like 40 or something like that.
Oh no, I'm not an idiot.
I'm quite a sort of drive to arrive kind of guy,
Yeah. Well, I've started listening to audiobooks, and my drive is 20 minutes. I did make it in 14 minutes because I nearly shit my pants. I left for work, and I just got onto the dual carriageway, and I felt that rumble in my tumble, and I was like, oh shit. And yeah, I looked at the clock just as I left, and I got to work 14 minutes later, and I ran past everybody straight to I saw one guy, this old boy called Vern, and I was like, I can't talk. I went straight in. I was about 5 minutes later, sweat on my brow. Yeah, 14 minutes it took me to do that drive. I got it. I got one.
Hey, good effort.
Landed almost in my eyeball, though.
Yeah, I think we've
Yeah.
all been there, though, when you feel that rumble and you're like, oh, have I got time to get to where I need to go? Or will I be able to clean my seats in time to still get there in time?
I genuinely, I thought at a couple of points I was going to have to get onto the hard shoulder and pop a squat. It was that bad. I was like, oh, this isn't good. It is a bad situation to be in because I don't know
too
what to
big
do.
to cop a squat subtly as well. It'd be like there'd
Oh
be like
yeah,
loads of blurry cell phone footage of like what looks like a Sasquatch taking a shit.
where the bear's shit in the woods. No, on the side of the motorway.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't want to have to do that. And I don't think anybody would be watching because I don't think anybody would ever want to see that, if I'm honest. But either way, the point of my story is it's a 20-minute drive, but where I've started listening to audiobooks, I've just slowed it down. Now it's a 25-minute drive. I'm just, pottling along way slower just so I can listen to the book.
I've started sort of listening to stuff falling asleep now, like documentaries and stuff like that. Like I'll stick something on YouTube and just like space. I've been doing a lot of space ones just recently in preparation for our previous episode.
Yeah.
And I've really got into that. But the thing is, I don't know if I'm retaining any of this information because they say like that if you fall asleep listening to something, it sort of sinks in, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, I've heard that, but I don't know how true that is.
Yeah, I don't think any of it is. I think what it is a lot of it. They just use a lot of big words, and that sends me to sleep.
Fair enough. I got YouTubers I used to fall asleep as well. They do camping videos. The sound of rain. I say camping, but they'll build a camp, so they'll go like tarp camping. They'll go on solo 3-day expedition, no food, catch and cook sorts of things. And yeah, I like watching them. They send me off in like 5 minutes flat. The second I hear the crackle of a fire and the drip of rain, I'm out like a light.
Yeah. I like those. I used to have a load of MP3 files of different ambient noises sort of, that you could put on to fall asleep to.
Storm.
Yeah, there was a storm. Like the sort of deep south or something like that, which was just like crickets and that.
Oh,
sort
okay,
of thing.
yeah.
And then they had
like, you son, you got a pretty mouth. Hey, grab that. No, well,
no, and obviously the waves crashing, streams, and all that sort of thing. And then they had an underwater one, right? Which I thought that might be quite nice, sort of like. So I put it on. You got the bubbles going, like. Bloop, bloop, bloop.
Did you piss yourself?
No, it was actually really relaxing. Yeah, apart from the fact it went for about 35, 40 minutes, and then some fucking genius thought, you know what we need for an underwater scene? Whale song.
Oh,
right?
no.
So just as I'm drifting off to this, bloop, 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 I'm like, this is lovely. Like, what the fuck? I was like, what the fuck is that? Oh my god.
Oh, fuck's sake. Was it like in Down Periscope? Have you seen that Chelsea Grammer movie, Down Periscope? It's an old one.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, it's brilliant. It's a sub-boat captain who's a bit of a fuck-up. They give the shittest submarine with the shittest crew, and they say, if you win this war game, we'll give you a nuclear sub to captain. And there's the crazy guy who's, the one who wears the earpiece, he listens to sonar, maybe, just listens. Yeah, he can listen to... he listens to whales, or he's been tracking them, and he like talks to them, but you see him doing an impression of them, and he's like all over the fucking place. So now when I hear whale song, I just see that movie. It's a funny film. It's definitely worth watching.
Yeah, I'll have to give it a shot.
Yeah, well, it's got Fraser in it, not being Fraser, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, but then he's got the only other thing I've seen him in is that X-Men.
X-Men?
Yeah, he's the Beast in X-Men, isn't he? Ladies and gents, you've just seen Sam's mind blown.
Was he really?
That's amazing. Yeah.
Because the guy from in the relaunch, it's that young lad, isn't it?
Yeah.
From Skip, and maybe about a boy, probably. I'd forgotten about the original Beast. He was fantastic as well. Didn't realise it was Kelsey Grammer.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
That's interestingly. So amongst groups of friends, we've had the conversation many times. What X-Men power would you have? And then we decided to stop talking about it and just do a quiz. We all did the quiz, and we were like, "No, that's what you get from here on. That is your power. You don't get to pick. You get that." And I got Beast. Quite happy with it. I mean, if you've got to be mutated to be, a solid 6.5, 7 foot big blue bear with super intelligence and can hang from roofs with your feet, I'll take that.
It's not the worst, is it?
Nah, not at all. You'll never be cold in winter.
And women will still love you because you're cuddly.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. It'd be a good one. But obviously, I don't know. I can't remember what the quiz is, so I can't send you the quiz to find out what yours would be. I think the problem is when we were talking about it, everyone's always like, "Oh, I'll just choose the Phoenix." I'm like, she's too powerful. Magneto, he's pretty powerful as well. It just eliminated it. It's funny when someone gets Scott Summers or the Banshee or something really shite like that. And be like,
Nightcrawler. That's the one I always hated.
Oh, I mean, he had a beast level mutation, but he can only really teleport.
Yeah, I mean, he's I don't know, or Gambit. Like
Gambit's pretty tough. I thought Gambit was pretty cool. He's never really been utilised in the movies, though. In the cartoon
cards,
series,
can't he?
No, he basically he can turn stuff into a grenade. He throws cards because he's a card player. He's like a Texas he's a poker player, so he tosses cards because they're convenient. But yeah, he charges them up, and they basically turn into grenades.
Oh,
that's
right,
his
okay.
thing, but he can do it to anything.
I didn't know that.
I wouldn't want his. I'd use things like Skittles as well. I wouldn't use cards. I'd just use like little things.
Yeah, stuff that's not too heavy.
Yeah,
not that cards are heavy. But
what kind of cards are you using?
Skittles are probably heavier.
Heavy cards. Yeah, probably. Yeah, maybe cards is the right thing to do. And I mean, I've seen people throw cards over crazy distances.
If you can get the technique really good right,
yeah. But I don't really understand why he didn't just use like a bow and arrow. You get like super distance on that, couldn't you? You just charge the arrow.
Just have
you've solved it. You've solved it instantly. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you're absolutely right. That's what you should be using. Call your slingshot.
Yeah, there you go. That's why I don't like Gambit, because he's fucking stupid.
Yeah, well, who is your favourite X-Men then? Do you have a favourite X-Men?
I don't know. No, not really.
No? Okay, fair enough.
No. I mean, I like Mystique.
Mystique? Fair enough.
Not just because I like her powers. I like I think it's cool that she could just like mimic anyone.
Yeah.
I'd want to take it further though. I'd want to see like, can I mimic an armchair or a lampshade or something like that? Like, I don't know. Can I mimic a unicorn?
She never goes into it. That never happens, does it? You never see her transform into an animal or an inanimate object. I wonder. I mean, it doesn't really matter. I think she's dead now in the series, isn't she? Did they kill her?
Oh, I don't know. I lost track. It started skipping through time so much. I couldn't keep up.
Yeah. Yeah, they did a lot of them. I quite like the relaunch though. The relaunch was pretty good. That First Class, or whatever it was called.
Yeah. I don't think I've seen it.
You mentioned paranormal stuff earlier, didn't you? It came up briefly. I can't remember what it was linked into.
Yeah, I possibly did.
Oh, well, either way, I definitely... Sorry, I'm trying to think back to when you said it. Because obviously, I know...
Is he going for a really tenuous link into the idea for our next episode? Or what?
I'm definitely going for a tenuous link into the idea for our next episode.
All right, just formulating the words.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it hasn't come out. I meant to say it when you brought up the paranormal stuff earlier, but I can't quite remember what you were talking about at the time. But where you're listening to YouTube videos about science fiction for the space podcast that we did, are you going to go on to Paranormal Activity for when we do a paranormal podcast?
No, probably not.
Is that because you're scared you'll get nightmares?
No, because I've done a lot. I've done a lot of like research into the subject already. I know I'm a massive paranormal buff, mate. Yeah, I used to be a member of ASAP as well, which I don't know if you know of them. They're a sort of paranormal investigation agency, which but it looks at cases with the intention of disproving them through science. It stands for the Association of the Scientific
cool.
Study of Anomalous Phenomenon.
Oh my God! Oh well, I cannot wait to delve deep into this subject. That is going to be absolutely fantastic. Should we make that? Should we try and do that for next week?
Yeah.
Yeah, the paranormal pacifistic podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I like that idea.
Yeah.
And obviously, if anyone's watching this wants to get involved in some small way, stick a comment in if you've got a ghost story or anything like that. Then
yeah, what we're doing right now won't be out, will it? By the time we record it, because I've got that. I'm doing other one on Friday. So this one will be. Do you know what? How about this? We're recording this one because it is nice having input from people. Why don't we next week not do paranormal, or we could do something else and we'll do it the following week. So we'll do it in 2 weeks, and that way this one will have been out for a week and people can pop comments in and it will actually relate into that podcast. Yeah,
sounds good. Yeah, so
although if it goes tits up, we can just do a 2-parter.
Yeah, I mean, just either way, just stick a comment in the box. We'll see it at some point and we will address it, whether it be part of the episode or not. But we'll try and include it, I guess. Yeah. Yeah,
definitely. No, the comments episode, man, that was a long comment from your mate Tracy. It was quite a spectacular one.
She's almost outdoing our friend Kevin Costner for appearances in the podcasts. Hi, Kevin, by the way.
Genuinely thought we'll be all right today. There's going to be no Kevin Costner references at all.
How could there not be a Kevin Costner reference? We're talking about like everything we loved growing up. Like,
honestly, we talk about him so much, and because I was doing the editing, I did a little bit earlier. It came up again, and I was just like, "Fuck it, let's put a Kevin Costner movie on." So I went on Amazon, and I was having a little look through what they had on there. I wanted to watch Dances with Wolves. Because it's
what a film!
Really brilliant movie, but it's not on any of the streaming platforms I've got. And to be honest, I couldn't really be bothered to look through my DVDs to see if I've got it. Because I don't have very many DVDs left. I got rid of all the cases and put them into wallets, and then I lost all of the wallets that I put them into. I had like 8 or 9 of the exact same ones, and through life in general, they all went missing. But I have got one big one. You know, the old CD cases that are like four on a page. Yeah, so I spent 3 months out in America, and I took that with me with DVDs in, and they're the only DVDs that I've got left are in that wallet. And I like to think Dances with Wolves would have made it in there because it was a fucking brilliant movie.
Yeah.
But either way, it wasn't on Netflix and it wasn't on Prime, so I didn't actually watch it today.
No.
But
I'll tell you what. I did watch last night. I've started watching The Last Samurai, which I think is very much a similar story. It's not Kevin Costner, no, it's Tom Cruise, but it's a similar story. Yeah. You know, like white man goes out to a native country and gets adopted by said natives and realizes the wrongs of white man and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but have you seen it?
Yeah.
Have you seen?
Not all the way through, I don't think.
That was close. How was this close? Okay,
Well, you're going
right.
to spoil it for me. Right, yeah, enough of that.
I don't mind spoiling it for all of our amazing viewers, but I can't spoil it for you, Moosh.
No.
What a ridiculous thing I would do. Yeah, I have seen that. It's funny you should mention that, because when I typed Kevin Costner into the Prime search engine, or search bar, Last Samurai actually came up. So
Yeah, because it's similar.
Very, very similar. But yeah, it's it's an all right film. It's no Dances with Wolves though, or
No.
Postman,
No.
or any other classics. Waterworld is up there. I just watched it the other day. I can't watch it again. It's brilliant, but I'm not watching it like twice in the space of a month. It'll ruin
Too much.
Such a cracking movie. I still can't believe we got a copyright flag for putting it out at the end of the fucking podcast.
It was so worth it. I'm just hoping in some small way that Kevin Costner's got a letter on his desk or something like that, and he just reads it. What is this thing? And I know that somewhere out there, he's one of our 24 viewers.
Subscribers.
Yeah.
Oh, don't say yourself short. We double the views versus the amount of subscribers that we've got. Incidentally, people, feel free to like and subscribe. We do appreciate it.
Yeah.
Tick those numbers up a little bit more. And we are trying to work out how to make this just the audio-only version, so that way you'd be able to listen to it as opposed to having to watch it, which would be nice. But we're old, and that's different.
we don't know how to make the sound separate from the pictures.
Yeah. How do we take the sound? Yeah, comment below. How do we take the sound off of the YouTube and put it onto the podcast?
I don't know, one of them little magic music boxes.
Yeah. But yeah, yes, we are trying to work that out. So eventually, I'm sure we will be very vocal about the fact that it's available to listen to on either Spotify or the podcast app, or I don't know where else you can get podcasts from. Audible.
Yeah, lots of places. We'll have a look, and whichever one's free. Really.
Yeah, we are trying to work it out. But yeah, that's out of my remit. Shit, I still send letters.
You what? Sorry.
I still send letters.
Oh.
Yeah. What else are you going to do? Should we think about wrapping this bitch up then?
Yeah, why not? I mean, we've waffled bollocks for what now? A good couple of hours, surely, or an hour and a half at least.
We always seem to waffle bollocks on for exuberant amounts of times. It's just way too easy to talk shit. But I don't specifically have anything else that I want to go into without going into subjects that we're going to do an actual proper story on. So
I mean, we've already tentatively dipped our toes into several episodes ahead of us.
Yes, I mean, movies feels like it's going to be an impossible one because we just talk about movies every single week. But either way,
yeah, and the porn ones. I'm looking forward to.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That was Zach, wasn't it? Porn.
Yeah. That's going to be an interesting one.
And tonight we go X-rated. I'll tell you about that. Do you know the only one we've never come close to talking about of the original list of things, subjects that we're talking about, is food and mental health, which are like, now the mental health one feels like it would be genuinely inappropriate to talk about. Especially the way that Jeeves. Yeah. And yeah, food never comes up apart from whenever Rambo's eating it.
Well, yeah, but that's just like flavourless paste, isn't it? Whatever he eats.
Fuel.
Yeah, it is. God forbid there's any spice to it.
Oh, God. Would you take a pill? Would you take a food pill? If you could take a pill once a week instead of eating? And
no, I like eating.
I do too. Yeah, I couldn't either. Well, that's the end of that conversation. Easy.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's wrap up then, shall we?
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
Well, I did the intro. You can do the outro.
All right. Well, thanks a lot for joining us. If you're still here, well done on the tenacity. It's truly impressive. You deserve a medal. Obviously, if you do like what you've seen, like, subscribe, do all of that sort of stuff. Like our Facebook page, follow, blah 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 blah. And until next week,
That
I
was
can't
really
even.
rich in detail.
Sorry. Well, you know it all anyway, don't you? It's all the normal stuff. And we haven't got Juice to be like and subscribe.
I think I've got a clip of that somewhere.
That's good. Maybe we could put that on. Right.
Yeah,
Until next time. Thank you. Bye.
farewell.